Well, hi and welcome to my shop. I'm going to continue aligning this radio despite the fact that I am fighting all kinds of stuff in my shop here. I've got ghosts and phantoms working against me left and right. I can't believe it. So, if you watched my last couple videos, you know I chased down the source of phantom signals to be the computer in the shop. No surprise in that, really, of course. What is surprising is that there's so many, and there's lots right around the IF frequency, the FM IF frequency of 10.7, and these things can be picked up in the radio during alignment, and they certainly were causing me concerns, but now I know what they are. I can kind of just pretend they're not there. They don't directly interfere with the alignment process as long as I don't get confused about which signal is which. So today I decided I'd just come in, I'm going to continue aligning this radio. Regardless of all that stuff, down the road I'll be taking steps to try to reduce the amount of interference signals in the shop, and I'm not even clear to me how I could succeed in that. So I better get along with them, I think. So I turned everything on this morning, and new phantom signal in my microphone, for crying out loud. Now I'm not using this microphone now. That's a really nice microphone. And I've got it connected. Let me show you what I've done with it. To make this microphone work, I had to put it through this mixer. Yeah, this mixer is not so hot. It's got a bit of a hum and stuff to it, but at least it boosted the signal enough I could use the microphone. I made the last couple videos with it. Seemed to work fine. It's a little wonky because, you know, it's a string of equipment and there's connections, you know, and stuff. Even the switch is a little wonky here. Today, just before I started this video, I set everything up, and what am I hearing? I'm hearing a roughly 500 hertz tone in the microphone. And for the life of me, there is no tone in the shop. I'm using the microphone on the camera right now. I'm sure you don't hear any tone. There is no tone. And I could not for the life of me figure out where it's coming from. So you know what? I'm going to take another whole approach. I'm going to shoot this video just using the onboard microphone. I may switch to my tablet if the alignment gets a little complicated with all the spurious signals. Rely on my tablet built-in microphone. In the meantime, I do have another solution I'm going to try, and that's that guy you see up there, that meter with the big face on it. Now this really is intended to solve exactly the kind of problems I'm having in terms of controlling levels and things like that. So that the meter is going to end up on my bench shortly, and I'm going to give it the once over, and then I'm going to try to put it into service as the microphone amplifier for this microphone and see if I can't solve everything all at once with that without introducing a whistle, a hum, a pop, a click, or a hiss. Because there's lots of that already in this shop. Why would I want to have more of that? So, you know, I guess when you watch my videos, not only do you see me fool around with radios, you see me fool around with absolutely everything that's in my shop, for crying out loud. Okay, so let's focus on the alignment of this radio. Now, the first thing I want to convince myself is that, and I'm absolutely not convinced of this, that it even needs an alignment. So, to do that, I got to hook up a fairly decent FM antenna and tune around, see what's going on. Likewise with the AM side, and come to grips with just how well this radio is working. The reason I chose to align it, or to try aligning it anyway, was a little bit of prompting from Joseph on the idea that any radio that's been around this long is bound to require a bit of alignment to bring it back up to snuff, and there's some truth in that. This isn't the oldest radio in the world, that's for sure. It's from the early 60s. Now, just a little bit about the alignment, some curiosities on this radio I really haven't talked very much about. Let me just pull the plug on it there. So, these IFs are easy to align. There's a single screw, and it's easily accessible. It's on the top. Look, it's almost inviting a screwdriver the way they have it built with these plastic tops and stuff like that. Now, underneath is a totally different story, because these cans, normally you tune them from the top and the bottom. When we look underneath, the situation is quite different. Let's take a look. Let's take a good close look. Coincidentally, I started this video thinking my camera was broken too. Yeah, so there's the bottom of one, and you can see the screw there has got paint all over it. And so does this one, and so does this one, and this one. So these ones are locked down with paint. Now, that's not that uncommon. It's quite common in radios for adjustments to be locked down with a bit of paint. And from an alignment point of view, later on, 10, 20, 30 years later, you just put the screwdriver on it and give it a little twist, and the paint usually gives away right away, and away you go. Now you can just about ignore it. Except, this is raising some questions in my mind. Why did they lock the bottoms down, but the tops? No attempt made to lock or dissuade anybody from adjusting the tops. So that's a curious question. The other question I have, more curious question, there's four what look like IF cans. One of them is probably related to the FM detector. So that makes 3 IF cans. I cannot find 3 IF cans on the circuit diagram. In fact, I'm finding the circuit diagram very difficult to interpret. So what I really need to do here is figure out which can is which. And I still have more questions. If you have an adjustment at the top of one of these cans and an adjustment at the bottom, it's usually because you're adjusting the primary and the secondary of a transformer. On an AM FM set like this, quite often they put 2 sets of coils into one can. And the AM and FM coils, they're different coils, but they're right together inside the can. And the way to adjust them, it's not easy. You slide your little adjusting tool, here it is here, down through the center of the first carbon slug, down into the second carbon slug, and you have to do this blind. You can't see anything inside these cans, of course. You have to feel your way down there, catch the second slug, and try to move it. And then there's a primary slug and a secondary slug. It'd be 4 slugs altogether, one way or another. Sometimes they put these coils side by side. I don't see any evidence of that at all in this radio. It really looks like each one of these metal cans here, each one of these IF cans that you can see here, has only 2 adjustments, a top and a bottom. So how's all this work? I don't know. It's not working for me, that's for sure. And it would be a lot easier if I had some information on this radio, but I don't, other than that circuit diagram. And, twiddling around to try to figure out what's what is exactly what you shouldn't do. If you're extremely careful, you might be able to get away with it by returning all the settings back to the way you found them. But anytime I've tried stuff like that, I've boofed it up. I've lost track. I just basically degrade the operation of the radio instead of improving it. So that's why I really don't want to poke around in here. But I've already done that to some degree, so I've twiddled one can quite wildly. The only one that seemed to have any effect, just on the top, because I haven't tried breaking these lower ones loose. I'm thinking there's something here that I don't know, and I'm worried about really mucking it up. So that's the situation here. Lots of question marks all around this, and not a lot of answers right now. So let's get the radio operating here. Looks like it has to be stabilized a little better on my bench, or it's going to fall over. In this arrangement, with the power cord plugged in high on the radio, there's a good likelihood I'll pull the radio over by by catching the cord. Especially, and these radios are never very stable when they're up on their end. This one's particularly unstable. And we can't have that. We cannot have that. I think I can stabilize it with just a little tiny sliver of wood here. Somebody, show me something really skinny. Here we are. But first I thought I should knock it right over. It's not much better, is it? Okay, that'll do. It's not going to be perfect. That will do. Now, the speaker's still connected. Power meter's still connected. And okay, I think we're ready to turn the switch it on. There we go. And the tubes are heating up. Okay. Now, what are we going to do with this thing once it starts going? Let's try the AM side first. Here it comes. I might have the volume turned down right now. It seemed to pull the voltage down further than in the past. Get full volts here. Gee, there's that tone that I could hear in my from my microphone. No, it can't be. Can't be the same tone. It's the same pitch. Well, we have no antenna connected, and where are we? Okay. This is the AM radio. I'm going to hook up an antenna to it. Didn't make much difference, did it? Let me just go check the other end of my wire here. Okay, sorry about that. It took a little longer than expected, so not making much difference here. So it could be the AM doesn't even connect to this post. AM only works from the rod antenna. So assuming that's the case, let's tune around here. Well, that sounds terrible. That does not sound like what radios normally sound like in my shop. Okay, and we'll try the FM side. This is FM.
Family movement, which I
Okay, so I'm on my way to getting a copyright hit. Now look, that's working pretty good on FM. The antenna I've got on there is not terribly appropriate. If I put a more proper FM antenna on there, it's going to work even better. Good strong signal, good clear result. There's not much here to do with this radio, really. The AM side, what the heck's going on with that? So, you know, as much as I think I can't really align this thing at all, given what I don't know about it, let's poke around with the AM side a little bit and just see what's up with it, because wow, it seemed to be really off. Now, so to do this, we'll take the frequency generator down from the 10.7 it's sitting at, down into the AM range. We'll just fire a signal into the antenna of the radio, or somewhere near that coil antenna, and we'll just have to see what happens, I guess. So let's do that. Switch this to the AM band. We're tuned at one end of the band. No, we're in the middle. Right in the middle. Somewhere around there. Well, it didn't receive it at all. You know, a couple of reasons for that. One is I did not have the signal generator. Did not have the signal generator connected. Let's try it again. So weekly at around 720. Very weak signal. Oh boy. Well, I think I got that on video. Yeah. Well, that was pretty exciting. Half my shop is still on, though. Interesting. Well, I'm going to have to just leave the camera running right now because my screen is no longer plugged in. I have to go change the fuse there. Okay. Yeah, that was an exciting moment, wasn't it? Yeah, you know what I forgot to do? Shame, shame, triple shame on me. Barely lighting that light. My neon light. I can hear you all saying now, you see, if you'd had a isolation transformer, that wouldn't happen. That's very true. That's very, very true. Yes, embarrassingly so. Okay, so my voltmeter reads 122 volts. I mean, there's no surprise in that. You saw it when I touched the ground there. That was a little too much for my house fuse. Yeah, my house is on fuses. It's a 15 amp fuse, and the surprising thing is, oh, wait a minute. Even bad videos. Yeah, making a lot of bad videos here. Okay, so not sure. I'm gonna have to edit this a little bit, unfortunately. So, the old flashing clock light, of course. The correct time really is almost 10 o'clock this morning here. It would be like 9:50 something. You get to watch me set my clock again. Okay, so let's rotate that plug before we do another big mistake. Big mistake. Big is the operative word there. That was a big mistake. Yeah. I'm not even sure if I want to put that on the internet. You know, so far I've put absolutely everything that's happened in this shop that I've gotten on camera has gone on the internet. Mistakes or not, stupid moves or not, somewhere in there are a few genius things, I'm sure. But okay, so I got my nerve back up. I think so. Did that fix the radio? No, it didn't fix the radio. So where were we? Where were we before the lights went out? I was just getting ready to connect the ground and see what happens. And I guess I saw what happens. Now, I have an automatic light in my office. In case you're seeing a light go on and off, it's not so happy after the power outage here. It's flicking on and off a lot. So, and interesting, only half my shop went out, and half my office went out. So I gotta think about just what circuits I'm connected up to here. Yeah, you can see the light going on. That's a reminder to me of how stupid I was. I don't know why it's not settling down. We'll just ignore that. Let's make another reading here, just because now I'm so nervous. This is good, though. It's good to be nervous. 0. Okay, should we try that again? There we go. No problem. So if you don't understand what just happened, if you're not familiar with this kind of work, the radio I'm working on has no transformer in it, no power transformer, and that's a strong hint that it's what's known as an AC-DC set. The DC part, I think, is an older term. It really doesn't mean much anymore. But from a radio repair guy's point of view, when you hear transformerless, no power supply, AC-DC set, stuff like that, then the next thing you know is hot chassis. Hot chassis is possible. Now, these old radios do not have polarized plugs. They do not have 3-prong plugs. Back then, safety was based on the fact that you could not touch this chassis. It was inside of a box. The knobs are plastic and covering the metal shafts. You cannot contact the chassis. Now, having said that, that's a pile of crap, because on the back are some connections to go to other pieces of equipment. Well, those won't be grounded to the chassis the same way. They'll be grounded through capacitor. Something will be done to make sure that you can't draw full power current through a short and have a capacitor in the way there. I imagine. I haven't really looked. So when you plug one of these sets in and you have it on the bench and you're not using your isolation transformer, which I am not, you must every time double check to see if the chassis is hot. If the chassis is reading 120 volts to ground, then you gotta turn the plug around, check it again. You'll probably see 0 volts to ground. And it's more complicated than this, and far be it from me to try to explain it on a video like this, but by all means read up on it. There's lots of good information on the internet that talks about this problem in detail and the like. Now, for all you transformer guys who are no doubt writing comments right now, I told you so, I told you so, don't bother telling me so. You know, I've been doing this for years and years. The mistake you saw me make, and I've done that once, twice maybe before this in my entire life. So the real problem is it's all your fault for just distracting me while I make these videos. So can we get back to actually doing some real alignment work on this radio? So where was I? I was just finding out that it was tuned to somewhere around 700. It's not happy now. There it is. Oh, why all that crummy noise in there? Now there was one IF can that I adjusted on the FM side, and I'm going to adjust it now, even though I did it on the FM side, just to see what happens. looks like nothing, which is what I hope will happen. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so what am I adjusting? Am I adjusting the FM or the AM side here? Am I adjusting the... I'm getting a response on the AM side while in fact I'm twiddling the FM control. Ay. Let's go back to FM and see what's happening here. I don't have any instructions to follow here. Hey, where'd the FM side go? Okay, looks like one coil reacts to FM, the others don't seem to make any difference on FM. Let's check that one coil on AM, see if it's having an effect. And the answer is no. So there we go. I think I finally have determined the 4 IF cans on the back of this radio. 3 of them are for the AM. Yeah, I'm not really saying that right. The adjustments that are at the top of these cans, looks like 3 of them are for AM, 1's for FM. And underneath, they're all painted in place. So, okay, so I think I'm in a position now to do the AM alignment. And it looks like I'm going to get a huge boost out of it when I do it. So let's put the IF frequency into this radio.